Oh my god, the live stream stats are in, chat. If that is not a declaration of hate for what happened, I don't know what is. This right here is indicative of the community and how the community received the live stream. Heaven Burns Red players are requesting an end of service after a new live stream. Okay. I did a video on this, I think a week and a half ago, how Japan held a live stream, and essentially what happened was Japan decided that they were going to change so many aspects of the game, ruining it for players. And they were livid. So livid, in fact, that the game is now sitting at overwhelmingly negative. Overwhelmingly negative. 4% of reviews are positive. 4% chat. How often do you look at because this game was genuinely like received incredibly positively throughout the community. Everyone loved this game. Heaven Burns Red was one of the biggest gacha games in Japan for, you know, several years. Look at this. Like, look at this right here. You see how it's almost all blue? The reason it's almost all blue for as far back as you can see is because everyone loved the game. And then this happens. They announced that they're changing core mechanics in the game. They announced they are changing mechanics that would then directly influence characters that utilize that mechanic. So many changes were made. For all of you that haven't watched, I strongly urge you to go take a look at the video I did on it because I covered everything. And then hundreds of negative reviews a day. Hundreds. 350 hours, now not recommended. 60, not recommended. Not recommended. 400 hours, not recommended. After the recent changes, I cannot in goodwill recommend this anymore. Yep, there you go. This game is probably the worst received gacha now, period. Now, as of their live stream that happened in the last couple days, players are requesting an end of service. Condi, who's an active member of our community on Reddit, which, by the way, chat, if y'all are not a part of, go ahead and join, where we keep you guys up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. I found the live streaming question. I don't know Japanese, so I can't see how many are calling for end of service, but I thought maybe someone who does know Japanese might want to take a look. I found a summary post on Discord. It only covers what the dev said, not the comment section. The subreddit for this game is dead. Comment was always the weakest part of the game. Okay, so you did link the live stream. I wonder if we can translate. The top comment, chat. The top comment sums it all up. Conclusion of the live broadcast. We've heard your opinions, but we have no intention of changing anything. So please continue to support me by paying money. There you go. The top comment right there. The top comment right there. 1 day ago from the live stream. We don't care. We're not going to change anything. We're right. You were wrong. Please keep giving us money. That is the Infinity Nikki strategy. Yes, it is. Seriously, it was the last chance, but not only did nothing progress, it made me feel even more disappointed. Were you satisfied that you were trouble holding a big wake-like excuse just before your 3.5 anniversary? A company that treats its users with contempt and only sees them as a cash cow will inevitably perish. Okay. I mean, evidently... wait, can we check, let's see, how many dislikes did the video get? Oh my god, the live stream stats are in, chat. If that is not a declaration of hate for what happened, I don't know what is. This right here is indicative of the community and how the community received the live stream. That right there. When you have a 70% dislike ratio, okay? When you are sitting at overwhelmingly negative with 4% positive reviews, okay? Hear me out here. Now, this might be a bit of a shock for some people, especially studio executives, but you might want to take a minute and listen to the feedback that is being presented to you to find out the source of player discontent or contempt in general. Controversy apology summary post I've seen of 5 days ago though, but the comments are also something else. I bet there's something else. That is an execution. That is, yeah, they have almost triple the dislikes to like ratio. 2,000 likes, almost 5,500 dislikes. Like, chat, Heaven Burns Red, okay? Like, hold on. So Heaven Burns Red, all right? And like, I know the gacha revenue website is not fact, okay? It's speculation, but we can see the trends, right? We can see the inclines, the declines. We can see generally how the game is going, while not fully indicative of the actual total revenue, okay? But the game for years has been making tons of money, like an unbelievable amount of money. And then now out of nowhere, they decide what we actually want to do is just destroy our game. Like their revenue has, from this website, declined by about 75%. This used to make 10, 15, 20 million, according to revenue tracking websites, and now is only making 2. The reason for that is because nobody wants to play it after they're doing all these terrible things to the game. Instead of going, oh, I wonder what we did to make the game as popular and well received as it was. Maybe we should do that again. Maybe we should keep with that, you know? No, instead what they want to do here is try to change the core of what the game is or what parts of the game are and then ruin it for everyone. That is tanking the revenue. Surely that isn't going to have a negative reception at all or a negative impact on the game. It's holy crap. Sends feedback. Game devs, I don't see it. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. That is wild. 70% dislike ratio. I understand why. So Ryuku Sensei also tweeted this. Watching the Heaven Burns Red developer livestream right now, chat is mixed, but I'm seeing a lot of calls for the game to EOS. This really doesn't look good for the game. Can you give a summary of what's going on? They doubled down on everything. They said that they're sorry, but that they aren't going to reverse any decisions at all. So they know that they fucked up. They know that the community dislikes what they did. And instead of apologizing and saying, you know what, we understand, we're not gonna go ahead and do this, they said, you know what, no, we're gonna go ahead and do this. It doesn't matter what you think. Couldn't gacha games be technically used to launder money? They could be, yeah. Yeah. EOS race and gacha games, it is, yeah. They said some stuff like how the main story quest is fine, only to be updated once per year? So Heaven Burns Red, chat. Let me give you a quick TLDR. Heaven Burns Red is not a game with great combat, okay? It's not a great, a game with a beautiful open world to explore. It's not a game that really has much other than its narrative, okay? Like its storytelling. It's very deep, it's very complex. Its story is fantastic, top tier storytelling. The character depth and the character involvement in the story, how everything's interwoven and fleshed out is beautiful. It is a narrative masterpiece. And then they go and say, we're only gonna do one main story quest update per year. One per year. That blows my mind. 5 minutes to play, yeah. That is not a good decision to make for the game. It's not a good direction to take your game. Are we cooked? If you didn't like what you heard from the 3.5 live stream, you won't feel any better about the situation. They tried to sound apologetic, but in the end, they doubled down hard. So they're like, we're sorry that you don't like our update, but it's too bad. Wild. Here was his original tweet. Heaven Burns Red producers and directors are having a live stream right now to explain the 3.5 nerfs and the system changes. The game could literally EOS in a matter of weeks, depending on what they say. I go over the nerfs and the JP reaction in this video here. I guess the next couple months of revenue for Heaven Burns Red is really gonna give us a clear, I think, like decisive, definitive look at how the game is going to continue to operate, right? Like the game's future. Because what we saw from the trailer, the live stream, was that 70% of them were upset, maybe more. Or we're seeing on Reddit and everywhere on social media, everyone is upset. So if they all quit, then the game, for years, this game has existed. 3 years, 4 years now? What could have happened to have led them to this point? Why does it sound exactly like the Infinity Nikki devs? Maybe they're exchanging trade secrets. Maybe the Infinity Nikki devs, or sorry, the Heaven Burns Red devs were like, hey, Paperful or Paper Games, Infold, what, how were you maximizing your revenue? And they're like, we just do whatever we want and don't give a fuck about our players. And the Heaven Burns Red devs were like, that sounds like a great idea. Sucks to see this happen. It really does, because this is one of the better narrative gachas out there. Hands down. Really freaking good game. Definitely doesn't deserve this mismanagement from the team. That is very sad to see. But at the same time, you know what? That just means that all these players will be able to go somewhere else. Play a different game, right? Boom. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment, so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.